this is your Yogabomb online class. This is very exciting. So let's start lying down on our mats. On our backs, please. And just take some deep breaths here. Begin to feel the areas of your body that are connected to the mat. So the shoulders, the hips, the backs of the legs, the back of the head. And begin to let yourself sink into the mat. Maybe closing down the eyes and take your focus to the breath here. Inhaling and exhaling for maybe one count longer than you inhaled for. So just gently lengthening the exhale here. As you inhale, we want to imagine that the sides of the ribs are expanding. And as we exhale, just at the end of that exhale, squeezing your belly towards the spine, beginning to turn on the core. With your next inhale, let's bring the right leg up, interlace the fingers underneath the right knee, and just give it a gentle pressure down towards the right shoulder. So taking it to the side of the body. Maybe you want to do a couple of little ankle circles with that foot. I know my ankles take a while to wake up. Nice and clunky. Take one big long inhale here. And then as you exhale, release the right hand down to the right side of the mat. The left hand comes over to the right side of the leg. And we take that leg across the body, just into a nice gentle twist to wake up the spine. So we're thinking about keeping that right shoulder grounded, the right arm, the right hand is relaxed. And the right knee is coming over towards the left hand side of the mat. So you can use that left hand here to help with that motion. Maybe looking over towards your right hand. With your next inhale, bring that knee all the way up and in towards the shoulder. Again, give it an extra squeeze, wake up the hip flexors. Exhale, release it down. Inhale to bring the left leg up, interlace the fingers underneath the knee and take it over to that shoulder. So rather than into the chest, constricting the ribs here, we want to take it over to the shoulder. Big long inhale. And then let's go to the other side. Release that left arm. Right hand brings that leg over. And I found it way harder to keep my shoulder grounded on this side. So really thinking about melting that left shoulder into the mat. Inhale to bring it all the way up again. Interlace those fingers underneath the knee, give it a squeeze. And then exhale, bring both knees up and into the chest. Let's interlace, let's bring the hands underneath the hamstrings now. As we inhale, we're going to bring the knees in towards the face. Exhale, we're going to roll up, try and find a balance there. We're going to go for that 3 times. So 1, and 2, see how high it can come on your shoulder girdle. And 3. And this time we're going to stay in our boat pose. Roll the shoulders away from the ears, try and sit up so the ribs are lifting away from the hips. If you can, release the arms. Good. Drishti is the nose here, or maybe your big toes. Point those toes and try and keep the legs parallel so this isn't happening. Keep rolling those shoulders away from the ears, make sure there's no tension in the face. And exhale, cross the legs over, roll over into your all forwards position. Spread those fingers nice and wide, roll the shoulders away from the ears. As you inhale, drop the chest, look up. Exhale, press into the hands, lift up in the core, roll the shoulders forward. 2 more like that. Inhale, shoulders away from the ears, drop the chest, look up. Really try and think about this, starting with the upper spine. Exhale, roll the shoulders all the way forward. Press down into the floor with the hands and the knees, lift everything else up. Final time. Inhale, find your back bend. Exhale, open it up. Good, and then tuck those toes underneath. Stay in this curved position and hover those knees off the floor for 5, 4, think belly to spine, don't let it bulge out here. 3, and 2, and 1, then walk those toes back into your plank. Keep that dome here. Now if you have a mirror or anything like that, check if your shoulders are over your wrists. You want to keep that stacked. And then I can drop my hips a little bit lower, so I'm really trying to find this straight plank. Squeezing my glutes, so you can see the activation there, the difference there. I'm trying to get everyone to look at my bum. Squeeze it forward, hold, and then drop the knees. Knee plank. Bring the shoulders slightly forward over the wrist so we keep that straight line. So rather than it being here, we're here. Squeeze the elbows close to the body, come to lie all the way down on the mat. Good. As you inhale, roll the shoulders away from the ears, lift the hands, hover the hands off the mat, look up. Exhale, tuck the toes underneath, bring the hips all the way back, and then hips all the way up into your downward facing dog. Take a moment to paddle out the legs. Just walking from right to left, waking up those hamstrings. And then let's slowly walk towards the front of our mat. I like to stay really high on my toes so I can keep my hips as high as possible here as I walk all the way forward. Maybe tap your wrists with your toes and then bend the legs, relax the upper body, binding the elbows or interlacing the fingers behind the head for your little ragdoll. Take a sway. And then release the hands and roll all the way up to standing nice and slowly. Stack those vertebrae one on top of each other. Your head is the very last thing to come up. Roll shoulders away from the ears and come to stand at the front of your mat. Bring the big toes together. Heels are maybe slightly apart. Roll shoulders away from the ears, bring your hands into a press, spread those fingers, hover the thumb just a centimetre away from the sternum, breastbone, and then lift that sternum up towards the thumbs. Now check that the pelvis, you're not sticking your butt out, so squeeze it in. Think Mula Bandha engaged, so think about sort of slightly holding in a wee. And then Uddiyana Bandha engaged, so find that nice ice cream scoop here. Press those hands together, close down the eyes. If you practice Ujjayi breath and you haven't already switched it on, now's a great time to do that. Nice inhale. Exhale. And take a moment to set your intention for this practice. Now when you're at home, it can be harder to stick the mind to one thing. It can be harder to stay in that focus. So set your intention or your dedication. And hopefully coming back to that throughout the practice will help you to stay focused. Usually, it can be a person, it can be a thing. Usually the first thing or person that springs to mind is the right one for today. Lovely long breaths. With your next inhale, blink the eyes open. Bring that prayer all the way up towards the sky. Keep the hands pressing in towards each other. Keep the body position as it is. Exhale, bring the hands all the way forward. Swan dive forward. Keep the weight in the front of the feet. Bend the knees if you need to bring the hands down towards the floor. Relax the head. Inhale, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Coming onto fingertips or bringing the hands to the shin for your flat back position. Exhale, bring the hands down, step the right leg back, step the left leg back for your plank. Option to drop the knees or stay in full chaturanga as you come all the way down, squeezing those elbows into the body, just coming halfway down if you're in chaturanga. And then as you inhale, rolling over the front of the toes, finding your back bend. Exhale, bring it all the way back to your downward facing dog. Inhaling here for one. Exhale for one. Walking out the feet if you need to for two. Exhale two. Hips high for three. Exhale three. Keep pressing down with the thumb and the forefinger for four. Exhale four. Hug those ribs in towards your back for five. Exhale five. Inhale, look forward in between the hands. Let's step the left foot forward in between the hands. Step the right foot forward. Look up and exhale, forward fold. Keep that weight forward in the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up high. Exhale, we go again. Bring that prayer all the way down towards the floor. Hands frame the feet. Inhale, look up, find your flat back position. Exhale, step or jump back to your plank or chaturanga. Inhale. Find your upward facing. And exhale, find your downward facing dog. Inhale here for 1. Exhale for 1. Maybe paddling out the feet for 2. Exhale 2. Make sure those feet are hip width apart, the hands are shoulder distance apart for 3. Exhale 3. Can you bring your heels a little bit closer to the ground for 4? Exhale 4. Inhaling for 5. Exhale 5. Look at the space in between your hands with your inhale, step or jump your feet all the way forward. And exhale, forward fold. As you inhale here, sit the butt down nice and low. Keep the weight in the heels now. See if you can lift up your toes. And then inhale to bring your arms up. You can have the hands in a prayer if that's too much for the shoulders. Keep them the hip distance apart. Now we want to avoid, again, sticking our butt out here. So squeeze those hips, squeeze the pelvis forward. Suck the belly in and see if you can bring the shoulders back over the hips. It's going to feel like you're about to fall down backwards here. See if you can sink the weight back a little further. See if you can lift up all those 10 toes and check that you can see them in front of your knees. Look up towards the hands. And then exhale, forward fold, straighten up through those legs, relaxing the head, take a moment to shake and nod the head out. And then let's step or jump back into our plank or chaturanga one more time. Inhale, find your upward facing, and exhale, downward facing. Good, from here, inhale that right leg up high, but make sure the toes are still facing down towards the floor. So avoid any sort of like peeing dog things over here. You want to really squeeze those thighs towards one another, maybe flexing the foot to check that those toes are pointing downwards. Take a nice inhale here. As you exhale, bring your right knee towards your nose, coming forward into that plank. Inhale, coming all the way up into that three-legged dog again. Exhale, right knee towards your right shoulder, squeezing the foot up towards the butt. Inhale, bring it all the way up again. Exhale, right knee towards your left shoulder. Option to stay here, or maybe straighten that leg out. You can put it down on the floor or keep it lifted as we come into our, I think this is called fallen angel. So squeeze those hips up, press down into that right hand. Lift that foot off the floor just for a second. And then bring it back into your three-legged dog. Exhale, the knee comes towards the nose, and then we step it forward into our high lunge. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up high. Feel free to keep the hands on the thigh or on the floor here. Take a little micro bend in the back knee, and then squeeze the hips forward, and then straighten up the back knee. So both your hip bones are facing the front of the room, whichever room you're in. Inhale, the arms come up and over the head. See if you can get a 90-degree bend in that front knee. And then as we exhale, we open it out to our warrior 2. So the back heel comes down towards the floor. Outer edge of the back foot is parallel with the outer edge of the mat. Again, we're aiming for a right angle here. Looking down at that middle finger of the front hand. Now, there's lots of temptation here to lean forward. So really imagine that someone's pulling that back hand back and sinking that front hip forward. Make sure you can still see your big toe in front of your right knee. Take an inhale here. Exhale. As you inhale, flip the front palm. Exhale, bring it all the way back for your reverse warrior. So opening up in the right hand side of the body. Making sure that we've still got length in that left hand side of the body, maybe looking up toward the top hand. Option to take this hand round for a bind. Inhale, bring it all the way up, straighten up that front leg. And then let's heel toe the back foot. A couple of steps in. Dig those hips all the way back as you reach forward, 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 forward. And then just pivot the arms for our Trikonasana. So your hand might be here, your hand might be all the way down with your toes, hip click. But wherever you are, thinking about getting length in both sides of the body, so elongating here as well as here. I have a lot of teachers that say this is like being in between two panes of glass, so you don't want to feel like you're leaning too far forward or too far back. Find that squishy all on one line feeling. With your next inhale, your mula bandha, the strength of your core lifts you all the way up. And then let's pivot those right toes in, interlace the hands behind the back. As we inhale, chest raises. Exhale, fold it all the way forward. Keep the weight in the front of the toes and bring those shoulders towards the ears as you bring the hands up and over the head. See if you can squeeze the heels of your hands together too, if it's available for you. Rock the weight a little further forward, squeeze the hands a little lower. Pull up through those kneecaps. Exhale here. As you inhale, roll all the way up through the spine. Keep the hands clasped as you find a little mini back bend, squeezing the hips forward. Exhale, release. Let's pivot and do all of that on the other side. So, making sure that the left toes are facing the left, squeezing those hips forward, lifting the back heel off for your high lunge. Now you might want to walk that foot a little further forward because in a high lunge it's nice to be a little bit wider than your usual Prasarita stance. Make sure both hips are facing forward, take a little micro bend in the back knee, squeeze the pelvis forward and then straighten up that back leg. Inhale, the arms come up and over the head. Now we want to avoid doing this here, so we want to avoid finding too much of an arch in the spine. We're really thinking about hugging everything in, keeping the shoulders over the hips. One more inhale here, and then we open it out to our warrior two. So really making sure that back foot is pressing down into the floor, and then we look over that front hand. I cricked my neck yesterday, I don't know what I did, but this feels painful. So it only goes to where your body can, where it feels comfortable. Be gentle, spread those fingers, looking down the middle finger, keeping that 90-degree bend. I'm looking in a mirror to check on myself. 90-degree bend in that front leg. As you inhale, flick the front palm. Exhale, bring it back behind you for your warrior, your reverse warrior. Squeeze those hips a little lower. Find a length in both sides of the body. So the difference here is that or that. An option to bring that hand back behind. Inhale, lift it all the way up, straighten up that front leg. Heel toe the back foot in just a little bit. Dig those hips back as you reach forward, 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 and then pivot the arms. Find that two panes of glass feeling. So squeeze those ribs in, lean back in the upper body. So imagine you're leaning against a wall behind you. If you have one, you can use it. Look up towards those top hands. Pull up through that quad to protect that kneecap. You see the difference in my thigh there. Inhale, come all the way up. Let's turn the toes this way. Bring the hands to the hips. As you inhale, roll shoulders away from the ears, lift the chest. Exhale, bring the hips all the way back as you bring your body forward. Bring the hands down, maybe in front of the feet, maybe you can bring them in line with your feet. Roll the shoulders away from the ears, look up, and then as you exhale, bring your head down to the floor. Option here to lift into your tripod headstand if you are safe and in a position where it will be comfortable for you. Otherwise, stay with this forward fold, pull up through the hamstrings, try and stick your butt out a little bit further behind you. And then bring the hands a little bit further forward. Heel toe the feet until they're just wider than your wrists apart and sit the butt down nice and low into your Malasana squat. So if your heels don't comfortably reach the ground here, maybe take a blanket or a brick or a couple of books and put them underneath the heels, so just so that you've got a little bit of a lift. And then we're thinking about bringing the weight back into the heels, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, pressing the elbows into the inner thighs, and pressing the thumbs together at heart center. So we're thinking about keeping this grounded, but lifting up and away here. Option if you want a little finer bit of power here, you can stay here or bring the hands down towards the floor. As you inhale, lift your hips as high as you can. So the higher that you lift your hips, just moving back so that I'm on my mat, the higher that you lift your hips, the more squeeze you'll have in. And from there, maybe lift up one foot. If you're comfortable there, maybe transfer the weight, lift up both feet, find your Bakasana. Hold for one breath, for 2 breaths. Maybe straighten the arms a little bit more, lift the hips, and then land slowly in your Malasana squat. Yay! I'm going to just transition to sitting down. Feel free to do any fancy transitions that you like. hug underneath the legs here, so really wrap around, see if you can get hold of your elbows, maybe you've got hold of your wrists, and make sure you've got a really good connection with your body to the thigh. And then walk your feet forward, but keep this connection. So I teach this all the time, and people do this. That's not what I want to see. This is a stretch for the back, so keep that connection legs to thighs, and then slide the feet forward. When you're at home, only you know if you're cheating. So yeah, practice your truthfulness. Good. Flex those feet, drop the head and the neck. So release any tension here. It's so easy to hold tension in those areas. Slowly, slowly walk the feet back. Takes a little bit of a core workout to do that. Roll shoulders away from the ears. Bring your hands around the outsides of your hamstrings, and then again finding that sitting up. So you can see here I'm a little bit slouched back in my lower back. I want to think about sitting up, being on the top of my sit bones, and then bringing one leg back, and then the other. It's so much harder. This, easy. This, the challenge. Good. Finding that boat pose once more. We're going to reverse what we did earlier. So holding it here, seeing if we can slowly move to lying down on our backs for a count of 10. So 10, 9, keep squeezing belly to spine, 8, 7, 6, rolling down through the spine, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, relax back on. So bend your knees and bring your feet nice and close to the hips. Just bring the heels slightly further out, toes slightly further in, and you want to almost be able to tickle your heels with your fingers. Now, turn on the pelvis, so switch on the stomach, bring the pelvis up, maybe just hover that off the floor for a second, make sure these muscles are really engaged. And then we're going to begin to roll through the spine, so coming up lower, middle and upper. See how slowly you can come up here. When you get to your maximum, possibly rolling those shoulders underneath, so you're really nice and high on the shoulder girdle. Pressing the palms together maybe, and then lifting those hips up a little higher, thinking chest towards the chin. Squeeze those glutes. If these aren't turned on, there's no point in doing this. So squeeze the glutes up towards the ceiling, and then imagine you're squeezing a brick in between your two thighs. Exhale, release the hands, roll slowly back down and through the spine. And then we're going to repeat that one more time. I'll demo the Dhanurasana, full wheel. But there's always an option to just repeat the bridge or do a half wheel, any variations you fancy, but just obviously play safe. So bring your heels nice and close towards you one more time. If you're going for the bridge, then begin to lift the hips. If you're going full wheel, bring the hands up so that the fingertips are facing the shoulders. Elbows squeeze in, so don't let them splay out from here because you want to really press into those hands. Roll up through the spine so you're as high as you can be over your shoulder girdle. If you're in your bridge, your Sati Bandhasana, you're rolling those shoulders underneath. If you're coming up into your Dhanurasana, pressing down in the hands to bring the body up. Now here, these hips are still engaged, and I'm thinking of bringing the weight forward into my hands, bringing the chest forward over the wrists. Feeling that opening in the front of the body, that stretch through the shoulders, straight arms, squeezing that brick in between the two thighs. And exhale, bring chin to chest. See how slowly you can bring the back of the head down onto the floor, the shoulders, and then roll through the spine to bring the spine back to the floor. Bring those knees nice and wide, bring the soles of the feet up. Option to bring the feet in, so the knees in even, or bring the feet up, taking hold of either the big toes or the outsides of the feet. Now see if you can ground the lower spine. If you can't, then bring the hands a little bit further up the legs. And take a little roll from side to side. Just massaging out that lower spine. Let the head flop so that it's just following the hips, relaxing through the body here. My tummy just rumbled. And then let's bring the feet so that you've got a 90-degree angle in your knees. Bring your arms out to the side and then cross that right leg over the left. And then let's take this twist over to the left hand side. So you're doing eagle legs here. If this is too much, feel free to release that left leg down. Looking over towards that right hand and trying to melt those shoulders down into the floor. Inhale, feel free to use this hand, or else think of it as a core workout as you lift back up. Change the cross of the legs. Try and get a little wrap with your toes if you can, if not, just cross there, it's absolutely fine. And then slowly take it over to the other side, moving with control here, squeezing in that Uddiyana Bandha, belly to spine. And then looking over towards that left hand. Inhale, bring the legs all the way up again, nice and slowly. Release the bind here. Now bring your hands down alongside your hips. Curl up through the spine, bringing your head towards the knees. Holding here for 5, 4, 3. Squeeze belly to spine, 2. And slowly as you can, coming all the way to a line. On your back, you give everything a shake. If the hips are shaking, the head's a shake. All your multiple heads are shake, shoulders are shake. And relax. Nice deep inhale. And sigh it out. Relax the forehead. Relax the eyes. Let the back teeth separate. And find that contact. Shoulders, the hips, the backs of your legs sink into the floor beneath you. Find your Shavasana.